Tim in Kimberly. What's going on, Tim?
Hey, John, two quick comments. Number one, Stephen Avery didn't contact Teresa Hallbeck directly because he knew she would never come out. She was creeped out by him. You know, the auto trader secretary had said as much. She didn't want to go out there. She believed this was for the auto business itself, not necessarily Stephen Avery. So maybe she kind of, against her better judgment, went out there. But she never would have went out if had Stephen called her directly. I don't believe. She's way too smart for that. And secondly, Catherine Zellner, she reminds me of, like, when you have a toddler and you tell them no, and they're like, but why? But why? But why? And there's all this, you know, there's all this empirical evidence that this didn't happen. And she's, every time she opens her mouth, it's all conjecture. It's, well, what if this happened? Oh, well, what if this happened? When there's no real possibility of those things happening or no evidence that those things happen. She always presents this stuff like, oh, it totally could have happened. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's never any real evidence being presented, but she acts like, you know, she acts like she's finding OJ's gloves every time she does anything. Everything's the biggest, this biggest breakthrough in the case, and she's presented nothing in any court case or any, appeal at all that would show that she has any real evidence.
We have an email that came in, too, here from a listener, Todd. You, sir, are purposely denying common sense to fit what you want to be true, a.k.a. a progressive. Oh, so this is the first one right here. Usually people say that we're far right, which isn't true either, but now apparently, now we're liberal. Manitowoc County was run by corrupt, arrogant, good old boys, as proved by their setup of Avery in his bogus rape charge, proved by common sense, and finally DNA. Their hate for him put him in prison, wrongfully for 18 years. They were facing and most likely losing a $36 million lawsuit that insurance wouldn't cover because they were so blatantly negligent. So you bet that hate and fear would motivate them to continue with their lawless ways. So many questions have since been raised regarding this case that no reasonable critical thinker could convict him beyond reasonable doubt. None. Did they ever even confirm the bones were Tara's? Okay, it's Teresa's, so it shows how much this person really watches this. Those cops were crooked as the day is long. That's just a fact. His guilt or innocence will most likely never be proved with certainty, ever. But he was railroaded by the county, then the state and feds as well to save face, because he was hated by law enforcement in Manitowoc County. And if you deny that, you, sir, are blind and intellectually dishonest. Look, like I've said before, I wish the Manitowoc County officers never went to the crime scene after it was handed over to Calumet County. I wish they didn't, because it gives people like you a reason to ask, oh, what if? It didn't actually affect the outcome. There was so much proof. So much physical evidence. You have a confession from one of the two murderers. He spelled it out in gruesome detail what they did.